Your reputation in storage travels faster than anything else. Brokers talk because this is a very small industry. And in this business, you're either building credibility or you're getting quietly filtered out of the deals without even knowing about it. Today, I want to show you exactly how to build trust with brokers and get on their radar, even if you're brand new, have no experience, and have never done a storage deal. My name is Alex Pardo, and we just wrapped up a 6-part series of ways to find off-market storage deals, specifically 16 different ways that you can locate mom and pop storage opportunities going off-market. And now I'm going to start a brand new 4-part series on how to work with brokers and find on-market storage deals. Now, over the past year, I've had 4 of the nation's top brokers join our Storage Wins coaching calls, and they have shared things that you're likely not going to hear anywhere else. They've shared inside secrets, best practices on how a brand new person in storage, somebody who's never bought a facility before, can get on a broker's short hot list, can get in their good graces, and can get brokers feeding them the best deals that they get. Now, I've taken the best of the best here when it comes to this series of talks that I've had in terms of the top 4 brokers coming on our Storage Wins community calls, and I'm going to break it down in this episode. Now, I want to talk specifically about how you can build trust and credibility with brokers. To me, that is the foundation. Nothing else matters if you can't get that right. And like I said at the beginning, storage is a very small world, so you absolutely need to protect your reputation. You need to be known as the type of person that when you say you're going to do something, you follow through no matter what, no matter if it's convenient for you or not. Now, David Perleschi, a good friend of mine from Franklin Street, talked a lot about the fact that word travels amongst the broker community. And yes, commercial real estate is a pretty small industry and a pretty small world, but guess what? Storage is even smaller. And he talked about how word travels fast. And so the way that you act and behave with a broker can really have a ripple effect on future opportunities. There is actually a thing as getting blacklisted. So treat people the way that you want to be treated, golden rule of life, and make sure that you're respectful of their time. Do not waste their time and do not overpromise. One of the worst things I see people do is they'll start building a relationship with the broker. The broker will send them a deal and then they ghost them. They don't get back to them. And that's one of the things that we talked about at length, is that when a broker sends you an opportunity, get in the habit of getting back to them as quickly as possible. Ideally that same day. Even if you're not interested in the market, the deal, let them know why it doesn't work for you. Educate them and coach them specifically on what you're looking for. In fact, the more dialed in that you can be with your buy box, which is something that we've talked at length about, the more credibility it lends and the better credibility it gives you in the eyes of that broker. Now, let's talk a little bit more about why clarity creates credibility. Okay, why does clarity create credibility? Kristen Assman, who is one of the top brokers in the country, works for SVN, somebody who has sold my storage facilities in the past, and in fact, she's about to sell number 3 for me. She talked a lot about the importance of making sure that she likes that when a buyer reaches out to her for the first time, that buyer is very clear and specific about what they want and why they want it, right? Specifics like the market type, the size of the facility, the price range, a buyer that can articulate how they plan on getting funding and financing for the deal, right? Do they have access to private money? Have they talking to them about their experience, even if it's coming from the single family space? That will add credibility. That gives brokers confidence that you're serious. Okay, the fact that you've already started building relationships, and we're going to talk about a key ingredient that you probably haven't thought of that brokers are looking for. Now, let's talk about the reverse, the opposite of what they don't want to hear. They don't want to hear vague general language like, hey, I'll look at anything, or I'm interested in anything that's a deal. That screams of newbie language, somebody that's not thoughtful and intentional, and in their words, it's a red flag. So make sure that you have clarity, that you have a clearly defined buy box. In fact, we'll include a resource below where you can actually get my buy box template, and you can use that as the foundation to build yours. If you go to storagewins.com/storage avatar, We'll include a link so that you can access that. But we've talked about how storage is a small world and you need to protect your reputation. We talked about how clarity creates credibility. And I also now want to talk about why transparency wins. You ever heard that saying, act as if? I think that is some of the worst advice that you could ever get from somebody. I cannot tell you how many times I have heard that. Now, don't get me wrong. I have actually been in a season in my life where I subscribe to that line of thinking. But to me, that's the opposite of transparency. One thing is to present yourself and communicate with confidence and have a certain belief system about yourself and your abilities. The other thing is to act as if and pretend and communicate in a way as if you have things that you don't have or you've accomplished things you haven't accomplished. David and Kristen both agree that don't pretend you own storage facilities if you don't. Be very upfront, be transparent. Don't think that just because you're a newbie or you don't have experience or you don't have a facility that they're not going to pay attention to you. I think more is communicated in the delivery and the confidence in how you communicate and how you come across than what it is that you're actually saying. Okay, so be upfront. Tell them, hey, David, hey, Kristen, listen, I want to be straight with you. Like, I'm new to storage. However, I'm part of a community. I'm part of the Storage Wins coaching community, or I'm part of this or that. And I have access to partners and capital. I'm serious about this. If you have any real estate experience, share that with them. If you have any experience as a business owner or an entrepreneur, share that with them. Because honesty, to me, is the bedrock of building a relationship that's on trust, right? Imagine starting a relationship on a lie. Like, do you think that's going to be fertile ground to build a meaningful, lasting relationship? And if you know me at all, or if you've heard videos or podcast episodes in the past, you know that I'm always saying, I'm the one to say that the most valuable capital you can raise is relationship capital. It's not private capital. It's not money. It's relational capital. So think long term. Don't be so short-sighted and just be thinking about the next dollar or the next deal. All right. Now let me start to wind down and share with you a couple of other things that all these brokers had in common and they talked about when it comes to building relationships, establishing trust and credibility. Is they talked about the importance of being a part of a community and having a coach or a mentor. In fact, David and Kristen both agreed that this is huge social proof in the eyes of a broker, because it communicates to them that you've made an investment, not just of money, but of time, and you are serious about this. Something that all four brokers, Jake Payne, who I hadn't brought up yet, part of Matthews, David from Franklin Street, Kristen, and John Lindsay, my buddy John Lindsay from Lindsay Self-Storage, all four touched on, in different ways, the importance of community, the importance of being a part of a coaching program or a mastermind. It gives you instant credibility because brokers know that you're serious. You're educated. And guess what? If they believe that you are serious and educated and that you are surrounded by a group of like-minded people who are doing what you aspire to do, that's going to come with accountability, and they know that you're now not going to waste their time. Why? Because you've made an investment in yourself. And people want to be associated and aligned with people that have ambitions and that want to grow and that want to succeed. And guess what? Because you have those ambitions, they have access to deals. They're constantly cold calling and mailing and reaching out to these mom and pop storage owners. You being ambitious and being serious about your business helps them grow their business. That's what they're looking for. Those are the types of relationships they want. That extension of trust gets transferred when you're a part of a community like Storage Win. So shameless plug, because I happen to believe it is the best community. If you don't own a storage facility, you're looking to buy your first facility within the next 6 months, and you want to surround yourself with a community of action takers, of go-givers, of people that are committed to their success and equally committed to helping others and contributing and collaborating so that we can all make 1 + 1 = 11. I want to encourage you, book a quick 10-minute call, storagewins.com. Being a part of a community and getting the right coaching and mentorship is not optional anymore. If you're serious about it, it's your shortcut to success. Now, with that being said, I want to start to wind down part 1 of a series of talks like I shared on now how to work with brokers and how to get on-market deals. John Lindsay stressed that brokers love buyers who are easy to work with, right? Make it known in the way that you carry yourself, the way that you communicate, the way that you respond to people, that you're a professional. I just recently heard somebody say this, and I thought it was really interesting. A professional can define what you do for a living, but a pro is about your professionalism, how you do what you do for a living. And I thought that was really interesting. Now, this was said in the context of professional football, the NFL, but I think it translates, right? So be a pro. Don't just be a professional. Like, be somebody who's about their business, does what they say they're going to do, focuses on the relationship first, not the money or not the quick transaction or the quick win, but think long term. When you follow up quickly. Avoid endless throwaway questions. Like one of the things John said, and I completely agree, is don't call a broker and waste their time asking them what I consider throwaway questions. Hey, how many square footage how big is the facility? How many units? What's the unit mix? Those are things that are probably in plain sight on the OM, the offering memorandum, right? So now, if you want to ask something specific like, hey, tell me why this particular expense line item is a lot higher than what I think it probably should be. Why are the taxes so high in this case, or insurance, or whatever the case might be. But ask thoughtful questions, be yourself, do not act as if, and remember something. Brokers only get paid when the deal closes. So if you feel like work, you get deprioritized. Don't be a tire kicker. Don't be somebody in their eyes who's just wasting their time that's not going to perform. I like to instill confidence in brokers I work with and tell them that, hey, I perform, right? This is what I've done. Now, when I first got into storage, I didn't have storage experience to lean on, so I leaned on my past real estate experience. In my case, I had closed, probably north of 750 transactions, and I shared that from a place of not arrogance or being cocky, but just hey, I'm serious about this. And I actually would share with them why I decided to make the transition from single family over to storage. So you might not be in a position where you can say I've closed hundreds of deals before, but I can tell you something that you have a story. You just have to figure out what that is. It's got to be honest. It's got to be genuine. You got to communicate from a place of authenticity. Just be yourself. They're a human being. They're just a broker. And guess what? They need you because sellers hire them to sell their storage facilities, and they want to work with people like you. They want to receive offers. So listen, we're going to start to wind part 1 down. If you want to shortcut this learning curve and actually practice these strategies with feedback from me and a community of storage investors, that's exactly what we've built inside of Storage Wins. Every single week, we go deep and we dissect all aspects of this business to teach you how to find storage deals, how to fund storage deals, ultimately how to close and operate these so that you could generate cash flow, build wealth. So in our coaching calls, we have real conversations. We're sharing real strategies, what's working, what's not working. So if you are somebody who's ready to buy your first storage facility within the next 6 months, head over to storagewins.com, book a super short, quick 10-minute call with me. And by the way, in the next episode, we're going to talk about how brokers actually source deals and what makes them pick up the phone for one buyer over another. You are not going to want to miss this one. Trust me. Make sure you're subscribed to the Storage Wins podcast on the YouTube channel. And I'm looking forward to part 2 of this series of talks on how to find on-market storage deals and how to work with brokers. Have a great one.